Evening, everyone.
We have an extra packet if somebody needs it.
Oh, that would be. Sabrina is on. You're so organized.
Recording in progress.
All right. All right, I'd like to call the meeting of the Finance Committee for January 29th. I'd like to call the meeting to order. It is now 6:05. Good evening, everyone. We have kind of quite a few things on our agenda for this evening. So we have a rather lengthy list of budgets. We're also moving more toward the Zoom meetings. As you can see up in the corner, we're viewing Zoom as we move along. So the meetings are being recorded, both by cable television and by Zoom. We will also be putting up each budget as we discuss it. As you can see up on there now is town moderator. The town moderator, and that'll be the budgets, and we'll take up budgets after that.
We had a revised version of that. I'm sorry it didn't go out.
It's okay, we'll table it. We can work through it. So, first thing on the agenda are the minutes of.
What did you just table? I'm sorry.
No,
We didn't table it yet.
Not yet.
I do have the new copy.
That's fine. We'll handle it when we get to it.
Okay.
Thank you.
Mhm.
All right,
Do you have
let's get started with the minutes of the December 11th meeting. I'd entertain a motion to approve.
Make a
minutes.
motion to approve the minutes of the Finance Committee meeting Wednesday, December 11th.
I'll second that.
Motion been made and seconded for the December 11th, 2024 minutes to be approved. Any discussion? Jeff, I noticed that we still have you up as vice chair. We're gonna make a little adjustment in that, and we're gonna put it over on Scott.
Appreciate that, thanks.
Jeff continues to take over.
Why? Just can't get rid of it.
Yeah.
Can't shake it.
Does that mean you're taking chair?
All right. The
Maybe third or
remainder,
fourth.
I've reviewed this, and the remainder of it seems to be pretty good. This is the one I wrote and Brittany interpreted, and she did a pretty good job, so. All right. All those in favor of the minutes for December 11th, 2024, signify in the usual manner.
Aye.
All those opposed? All those abstaining? That is unanimous, thank you.
Mike's.
We have 2 abstentions.
Yeah, with Tara.
Mike and Susan. All right. Next on the agenda is we have a reserve fund transfer. Does everyone have a copy of the reserve fund transfer from us? Okay.
This is the original.
Oh, you have the original. Okay, excellent. I'll grab that from you so I can see.
Mine says original.
They all say original. That's because I printed them at
Thank
home.
you.
I have a color printer. That's the only reason. I'll entertain a motion for the reserve fund transfer.
To actually do the transfer itself.
Yeah, it generally goes I move to transfer
Yeah.
from.
Yeah, I moved to transfer from the reserve fund account number 132-5782 to 919 employee fringe benefits. The original appropriation was for $2,000. The amount requested was $900, and the present balance in the account is $362.55.
Second.
A motion's been made and seconded to transfer from account 132-5782 to account number 919, employee fringe benefits. Original appropriation was $2,000. The present balance is $362.55. The requested amount is $900. Is there any discussion? Tom, you want to give us a rundown, or shall I give the committee the rundown.
You can do it. It's fairly clear. We're near the bottom of the account, and we anticipate at least one new hire relatively quickly, the assistant town collector. If anyone knows anybody who wants to be an assistant town collector, please have them apply. And there may be another one, so this is out of an abundance of caution, we're asking for 2.
Yeah, from speaking with Dawn, it sounds, she believes that we shouldn't exceed 6 hires. And when we get out toward May, if need be, we can make some other moves after the 1st of, I think it's after the 1st of May, we can do some interdepartmental transfers just to kind of plug holes if we have to. So this, judging by what I'm hearing from Dawn, we should be able to get through without too much trouble with this. Is there any further discussion on the motion?
I just have a quick question. Oh, go ahead.
I was gonna
No, I'm
say-
just curious, the employee fringe benefits account, is it primarily used for pre-employees physicals and drug testing, or is there other uses for it?
I think that's the primary use. Yeah, I don't know of any other use of the account other than pre-employment physicals with
There's
the
a couple
screen.
other line items,
I just want to make
I don't
sure we
think
had enough
anybody
money
has
that
an
we're covering if we thought we
expenditure
had 6 more
for it.
employees coming
Show
on,
you.
if there's anything else other than the pre-employments that we had to be concerned with between now and the end of.
there's drug testing, pre-employment physicals, and something else in the salary piece, I guess.
Okay. Sounds like we're good.
Like when people leave. I'm thinking this is the same account. I don't know for sure. I don't have my expenditure report.
That's okay, thank you.
Oh, no, you do, don't you?
It's in the book, it's in the,
I have mine right here.
okay,
This thing you're talking about?
either that or the last June's school expenditure report,
Well,
year one.
I can just find that real quick from here. So the line item that she's asking money from is the expense side. There is other funds available in a salary piece where there's vacation payout in that account, retiree benefits, and, yeah, so that's, but this physical exams and drug testing is the one that's running short.
Okay,
So that's why
okay, gotcha.
there's been a lot of back and forth of hiring, so.
Oh, okay, great, thank you. I just want to make sure that the $900 is going to be enough to last for the period that was off. Thank you. Thank you, Sandy.
Is there any further discussion on the motion? Seeing or hearing none, all those in favor signify in the usual manner.
Aye.
All those opposed? All those abstaining? Thank you very much, that is unanimous. Yeah, I'll grab that from you after. Just bring myself a couple of notes, quick notes here. All right. Right, next on the agenda is the big start to our budget season this year. Things are going to follow a little bit different format than what we are accustomed to. Usually we go through our, I guess we could call them departments, like, and I don't happen to have one. No, I don't. Anyways, we go, yeah, general government. Let me grab a copy. Thank you. We generally follow, for instance, general government, then we do insurance, retirement accounts, and highway safety and contract and planning. But instead of that, we are going to follow a numerical order instead, primarily because of the sharing system that we're using so that people in the audience can see what's going on up on this smart board that we now have. So it's really it's a great resource for us, and the people on Zoom can also see what we're working on at the same time. So it's a great resource, so we're going to kind of go through with that. So why don't we get started with we're going to get started with the town moderator.
I just move to approve the
Yep.
budget number, right? Okay, I move to approve the town moderator budget, department number 114. Looks like the requested budget for 2026 is $457. It was $448. Or no, there's another $100 in total expenses, I apologize. So total budget for 2026, $557. 2025, $548.
I'll second that.
Motion been made and seconded to approve the town moderator budget 114 in the amount of $457 in salaries and $100 in expenses. You can see up on the screen that we're missing the expenses at the time of print for what went into the files on the screen. It didn't. This is part of the process that we have been following.
That right there that Tom has is the updated one that I did receive from Sandy. I just did not get a chance to make it.
That's okay. We don't have to amend it because of the number that the numbers we were able to, but because we knew the numbers in advance, it's not necessary for us to amend it. So fortunately enough, we did happen to have that information in advance. So are there any questions concerning the moderator's budget? Seeing or hearing none, all those in favor signify in the usual manner.
Aye.
All those opposed? All those abstaining? That is unanimous, thank you. Okay, the next is select board. Has this changed?
I think this one I need to be fixed.
The select board needs to be changed.
Okay, so let's move on from the select board, unless we want to motion it and table it.
And it
No.
is-
No, we don't, it's not
Don't even bring
completely
it up.
necessary to do that.
Yeah.
No, and,
So this is
That's
going to
fine.
be deferred to the next meeting?
We'll defer this one to the next meeting, yes.
and again, the original version that the select board looked at was only regarded their stipends, which they're keeping at last year's level, which last year they kept at the FY24 level. We did not have the expenses on that sheet. They deferred to the finance committee
Well, I was going to get into that in just a second. So.
for their stipends. I also have a question about,
We're not dealing with select board.
Not right now.
Right, then-
So I
Okay.
think why don't we?
All right, sorry.
we'll-
Not bring it up.
That's perfectly fine.
Thank you.
Sorry.
So we're gonna set the select board aside. We'll take that up at our next meeting.
Yep.
Thank you. Next is okay, pay attention here. Okay, next one. Next one is the finance committee. It's always a wonder whether, the good news is that there are no salaries within this, so there are no conflicts from within this room. That's the most important thing for people to understand.
So that I don't have to abstain?
You don't have to abstain, You can- unless you really
But you
feel
can if
compelled
you
to abstain.
I might at
You
some
might.
point today.
You think so? We gotta keep this thing light, you know what I'm saying? All right, I'll entertain a motion for Finance Committee, Department 131.
Yeah, I move to approve the finance committee budget, department number 131. The requested budget is for $1,685. It accounts for a 0% change from last year.
And
A motion's been made and seconded to approve the Finance Committee budget, Department 131, the amount of $1,685, totally comprised of expenses. Just let everyone know, just to let everyone know, we didn't use any funds from this last year because most of this is to attend, it's for enough people to attend the annual Town Finance Committee meeting that takes place, I never remember where it is, it's down near Framingham, is where we usually attended. Tom and I have attended one of them. And I'd like to be able to, that's why that budget sits where it is, because I'd like to offer that to any other members that would like to go to that. It's generally on a weekend, so it's not something that you have to take time off from, well, unless you work on the weekend. You don't really have to take time off to go to it. So, but it's extremely informative. You learn a lot from the other towns. So if you would like an opportunity to get out and see what other towns are doing and how their finances are handled, it's actually very interesting to go.
When is it typically held?
I'm sorry?
When is it typically held? I don't remember.
I believe in the spring, generally, I believe it's around April. And I'll get that, I'll get all that information for everyone. Matter of fact, I'll jump on their website and look it up.
Okay.
If we can we'll get a group together, we can do it. So that's one of the reasons why we kind of stay away from lowering this budget, because it's kind of important to have people, give them an opportunity.
Yeah, no, it's awesome.
Right. Are there any other questions concerning the Finance Committee?
Am I reading it correctly on page 2 that we spent $196 on dues and memberships?
Yes, that's the membership to the Finance Committee.
And we're carrying it at $185 in the budget. Pretty inconsequential, $11, I know.
Yeah, I
but
do see that.
I'm just saying.
Just saying. Cut it, you can cut it.
See that, right, Jeff?
Make the-
See that.
Make the raise
Yeah,
it
she said-
$11, right?
I think we should try,
Just wondered if-
we should put in for a raise. We can-
Seemed like it couldn't be accounted for, but don't worry about it.
It's your-
Got a few of the big files.
It's all,
De minimis.
It's de minimis, there you go.
Right,
If
I think
you
it's
don't-
reloaded.
it's actually,
I'd take the 11 out of something else to keep the budget the
That
same.
line
but-
item,
yeah, municipal meetings is needed. Like if we go to a municipality, one of us goes to a municipality, we can move it out.
Take 100 out of there and move it
24 was 190.
Right.
Just wanted to look like I was paying attention, that's all.
Thanks.
I'm done.
Why don't we plan this?
You guys are killing me.
All right.
Did we shift it?
All in favor?
Well, do we have any other questions or comments on the Finance Committee budget?
No.
You guys are all killing me tonight. All
Good eye.
all those in favor signify in the usual manner.
Aye.
All those opposed, all those abstaining. You can do something if everyone abstains.
I didn't mean to cut you short earlier.
No.
Sorry.
All right. Why did I get a second?
Yeah.
You got time, why are you going on there twice?
Bring it up at the end.
Ah, there we
I don't
go.
know.
Reserve funds.
I see.
All right. I move to approve the reserve fund budget, department number 132. It appears to be comprised of just expenses of $60,000. It's a 0% change from last year.
I'll second that.
Motion's been made and seconded for Reserve Fund, Department 132, in the amount of $60,000, and it's zero change. Just to kind of let everyone know, when it comes to the Reserve Fund, and again, we probably, at this committee level, we probably understand it because we've been at this for a while, but again, for the people at home, the Reserve Fund is a fund that's used for unforeseen things that we run across during the year. We've actually, do we happen to know how much we've used so far this year?
I have copies of how much is left for this year.
Okay,
So-
just,
So right now, there's 44,394 left.
okay, so we've used approximately, a little under 20,000, about $16,000 from it, about 15,000, about $15,000 of the reserve fund to cover things like we did earlier with the fringe benefits. So, and that's what it's generally used for. And the reserve fund, and that's the finance committee generally manages that reserve fund.
So since I made copies Why don't you pass it around,
Oh, yeah,
So that-
thank you, Sandy.
have a cap, you know? It's for now.
Yeah.
I just make enough for everybody, I don't think. And shade.
Sandy, I have a question.
Excuse me?
I have a question. The,
Thank you.
the second, oh jeez, it's upside down. We're working on this. Anyway. The, on the historical data,
Yes.
it shows that we haven't
Don't
used,
show up.
it does, that's what I was gonna
No,
ask.
just the voted budget shows up.
Okay,
For some reason, it's a budget journal entry that I do, it's not actual expenditures.
Oh, okay.
So when I
right.
reduce the reserve fund, it's a budget entry.
okay.
So that's why I had it, I mean, I didn't do FY '25 stuff, but, I mean, this is FY '25, I didn't do FY '24. But if you wanna know how much we spent, it's on the expenditure reports about what's left.
Right.
And it's in the other budgets, so,
Yeah, so it's more of a move, that's why it doesn't show up, is because it's more of a move from this to
Yeah,
something
Right.
else.
this is Fringe for moving,
Yeah,
moving target.
all right. Are there any other questions or concerns relating to reserve fund? Seeing and hearing none, all those in favor signify in the usual manner.
Aye.
All those opposed, all those abstaining, that is unanimous, thank you very much. everyone. Next is group purchasing, Department 138.
All right. I move to approve the budget for group purchasing, department number 138. It's comprised of just expenses in the amount of $4,475. That's up from $4,300. It's a 4% or 4.07% increase from last year.
Second.
Motion's been made and seconded for group purchasing, Department 138, in the amount of $4,475, a $175 increase. So from group purchasing, we use these two groups to purchase from Berkshire County Group Purchasing and Franklin Regional Council on Governments, or FERCOG, is the other group purchasing?
Yes, we use the Franklin Regional Council of Governments for highway materials. They are, they have shown over the years to have a better result from their bidding process, and so we're actually saving money by going through them. And their fee just went up a little bit this year.
I did receive from FERCOG actually, was a salary study. I have no idea why I received it, but I believe it was a packet. Was it supposed to go to you?
Because
But I read through it, it was really
because
actually
I
quite
submitted
fun.
Dalton's info
Oh, okay.
for it.
Okay.
There are two that they put out. One is just for Franklin County, and one is regionally. They're trying to build their regional comparison charts.
Okay.
But it's a very, very useful document.
Yeah, I was kind of pretty impressed. If anybody, it came in hard copy. If anyone wants to look at it, they're more than welcome to look at it. But it's thicker than what we received tonight. So there's
It's
a lot
also
of
on their
information.
website.
It's all, yeah, it's on their website as well, on the FERCOG website. So if you want to take a look at it and see how we compare, and it covers pretty much everyone you can think of within the town government. All kinds of
It's
various
all the
positions.
towns in Franklin County, a handful in Berkshire County, a handful in Hampshire County. So they're trying to build up the Berkshire and Hampshire portions of it, but that's entirely voluntary. But it's still useful.
Are there any other questions or concerns relating to group purchasing? Seeing or hearing none, all those in favor signify in the usual manner.
Aye.
All those opposed? All those abstaining? That is unanimous. Thank you. Next will be legal counsel.
I move to approve the department title legal counsel, department number 151. It's comprised of only expenses in the amount of $55,000, which is the same as last year.
I'll second that.
Motion has been made and seconded for legal counsel, Department 151, in the amount of $55,000. That is no increase over the previous year.
Should we look at the historical data on that?
Yeah, that's what I was kind of where we at with historical.
Kind of hard to predict almost.
Well, we have the 10 years, 10 previous years laid out here.
Yeah.
You'll see we've been using a lot this year. It must just be a year for asking the lawyers questions. There's been a lot of, I've been dealing with them with contracts and procurement issues, real estate issues, and the Board of Health is dealing with taking some people to court. And Treasurer's Office is taking people to court for payment plans, and it's just been busy.
In those instances, does the town council represent us in court?
I'm sorry?
In those instances where we're.
Yeah,
taking
oh, yes,
some-
yes, they do.
actually go to court.
Yes.
Within our case.
Yes. And planning. We've also had a lot of planning advice because of a lot of technical issues that have come up.
Are there any other questions or concerns relating to legal counsel? Do we generally, if we have a case, if some level of case comes to us or comes against the town, does the town utilize this for representation for the town, not our insurance company? In other words, an attorney for the town making sure the insurance company's paying attention to our
Yes,
benefit?
I believe we also pay that out of this
We would
account,
pay
yes.
that out, okay. So I've
If we-
experienced cases where I've actually had to hire my own counsel. My insurance company was doing one thing, and I had to hire my own counsel to make sure that I was protected from whatever the insurance company was over here. The insurance company's over here doing whatever it does to protect the insurance company and what their payout is. But at the same time, you've got to take a look at what's going on in the town itself. And I just wanted to be sure that we're utilizing our attorneys in that manner, that's all.
We've had very little activity at that
Okay.
this year. We have had other human resources activities that have required a good deal of legal counsel.
Sounds good. Thank you. Is there any further discussion concerning legal counsel, Department 151? Seeing or hearing none, all those in favor signify in the usual manner.
Aye.
All those opposed? All those abstaining? That is unanimous, thank you.
I move to approve the budget for the recording secretary, department number 154. Looks like it is $582 of salary, it looks like it's just total salaries. Okay, yeah, looks like it's total salaries of $9,157. That is down from $9,495. That accounts for a 3.56% change from last year.
I'll second that.
Motion's been made and seconded for recording secretary, Department 154, in the amount of $9,157. That is a reduction of $338.
Does this cover all the salaries for both of the folks that take minutes?
Yes, yes.
That's their hourly rate right there. Bill,
Yes.
can you take the opportunity to explain the possibility of overinflated salaries from budgets from year to year to year to year to year?
Well, yeah, when it comes to,
You know what I'm saying?
well, yeah, well, that's kind of an interesting thing. Thing that I've been looking at is if we have, if we're not using salary funds from year over year, it's kind of flushed out in this here, is in reviewing that. And my eyes begin to cross after about 20 minutes of looking at this stuff, just to let you know. So, but what happens is over time, if that money is unused, it begins to grow, and it kind of starts to grow exponentially. I've looked at a couple of budgets, and those are going to remain nameless, and there was some thought about possibly cutting some salaries in that budget. Since that time, which was 2 years ago that I looked at that same line item has a little over doubled. So budgeting salaries needs to be done, just judging by what I'm seeing, we need to be more careful with the way that we budget salaries. Because it seems like I don't know how it does it. I'm not that accustomed to those kinds of numbers, but for whatever reason, looking back at those budgets, it was, I couldn't believe the number when I read it. So just, when we're looking at salaries, we need to kind of make sure that we look at them in such a manner that we're, in other words, we're not budgeting for an extra position that we're not using. And, if for whatever reason we can't seem to, in a certain department, we have X number of positions, and we can't seem to keep them filled, but yet we're still functioning, maybe we should not have that extra position. That's kind of my thought process right now, is if indeed that's the case, then, or if we have to hire someone to do, we're looking at hiring someone, well, we need to move that position from here to here and put it in a place where it's being used, instead of having it just forever sitting there, and it just kind of builds on itself. So it just kind of let everyone kind of understand there needs to be a level of caution with relationship to salaries. Because salaries increase. You get step increases and COLA increases, and that's how they start to climb on themselves. So over time, you end up spending a lot of extra money that you don't need to be spending. Or budgeting for, I should say. All right.
So why does that happen? Because we don't have the people, we're budgeting for people that
We ultimately
we
end up
don't
not
fill
using.
those positions.
Right, ultimately, for whatever reason, what will happen sometimes is, we'll hire somebody, and then they leave in the middle of the
So
year.
then you've got a,
And then you've got that
drop
slot
off.
where there's
Yeah.
money that's kind of fallen off there. And sometimes that person isn't hired again. It's not possible, I tried to predict it, it's not possible to
Yeah.
predict. But at the same time, if it turns out that we're not using that position, we should take a look. In other words, during our budgeting process, we should be looking at that. Geez, did we not use that position the previous year? Take the names away. Get rid of the names.
Right.
yeah.
And
Oh,
start
yeah,
looking at look more at what we're doing than look more at what we're doing than putting a person with the dollars. From our viewpoint, persons and dollars, we don't make any differentiation between this person and this person and this person and that person. We're looking
Well, it's
at a
the
budget.
position. It's the
Right.
position you look at.
Correct.
Are we using that position or are we not? And if we're not, we shouldn't be budgeting for it.
Correct. Or at least settling on something lesser. Yes, Sandy?
I just want to make a little comment about most departments have a rate that they have to have in order to get their payroll paid, okay? It's not a contracted salary, their payroll system requires a rate, and the rate comes from the wage matrix. And so each position has a different step and grade and step. And in order to, we budget the exact amount of paydays there are in every single budget, with the exception of a few, maybe two different departments. But everybody gets the exact amount of paydays in their salary budget. And if you notice in the June expenditure report, that you'll see the salary lines are pretty much 50 cents left, $1 left, and that's it. It's harder to tell though in the bigger budgets. But mostly everyone here that does not have a big budget, has 2 people in their office or 3 people in their office, most salary lines are to the dollar. And you're right, there may be some who leave and no one gets replaced. And you can't make that call while you're doing budgets.
I get that. But if historically, we've ended up not using that, say for instance, we have one person leave and then we hire another person back, but then another person leaves and so on, and we end up historically being
Right.
out of some level of position. From a budgeting viewpoint, we should be thinking about
Right,
coming
but
up with a
that's-
methodology to
Right,
reduce.
attributed to large departments, not
This is
attributed
more,
to
our conversation is
Yeah.
attributed more to larger
It's a larger
departments, but I was
department.
trying to keep it more general.
Mhm.
Because I'm truly not trying to point a finger in any direction. It's more of a general observation of a way. We're hearing from taxpayers that they can't take it anymore. And I don't know how to explain other than $2 on our tax rate for the most part goes toward a school. And that pinches, and that's gonna pinch a lot for many people. And to try to cut that $1.3 million out of our operating budget, it's quite difficult, if not impossible. So this is kind of what the town is up against now. And so we have to do our best to kind of keep our belts as tight as we can keep them without destroying services. But there may come a time that we may have to start reducing some services, just to keep the taxes in place where they belong.
just to keep our levy limit.
Well, that's the thing. We've had 2 years in a row, I believe we've dropped in our levy capacity. We're down at 770,000 now, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was almost 1 million 2 years ago. Or it was a little over 1 million 2 years ago.
Like $1.5 million.
Yeah. So when we do a Proposition 2.5 override for a capital expenditure, to like a school or a building of something or some other thing that needs to be done, whether we like it or not, ultimately it ends up affecting our levy capacity. It may not say, oh yeah, well it's sitting over here and it's not bothering you. Well, it does, for a host of reasons. So we need to kind of keep all of that in mind as we go forward. All right.
In regard to discussion on the Department 163 budget, I believe that since they've well underused the amount of monies, both salaries and expenses over the last 3 years, we should not give them 205 and the $200 increases.
We're gonna get to that in just a minute.
Not there yet.
All of this discussion actually was, the discussion started around the recording secretaries, and primarily, the subject came up, and just to kind of clarify everything,
Because when you
this
look
came up
at it,
because this budget is 100% salaries. So it's actually kind of a good time to have a discussion about salaries at that point.
And if you look at the 5-year spreadsheet, you'll see that it's about 2,000 over for the past few years.
Yeah, it runs.
That's why I was asking about what your thoughts were. And that could be because of the hours, you know, how do we,
In
if
20
you thought about adjusting it, how do you go about?
In 2022,
That's all
it
it
dipped
did.
down to 800.
Have you
Yeah,
ever done it?
No, I'm not.
And I think that's where, well, in 21 and 22, it dipped down to, it was, no, I was reading the wrong line. It just, in 2022, it dipped down to 800. We could backfill that with reserve fund
Yeah.
if that was, it was desired for the committee to lower this budget. It's keeping in mind, this is just it's a budget, all the
Right,
names and
the
numbers up
numbers
top.
don't, right.
And they
They
have
have-
had reserve fund transfers into this budget.
Yeah, in the
Okay.
past,
Yeah.
I recall that
Yeah.
happening many years ago. Matter of fact, I think that 23 and 22, I think we had to do a transfer into that year.
This says it's over or under the budget by 823, that's not the amount spent.
So I would have been 21, there's a negative there.
Yeah,
And there's the transfer authorized underneath it. That was what, it was probably budget to budget,
Yeah.
from one budget to another budget.
Oh, I was reading wrong. Thank you, I was reading the wrong line again.
But, you know, so the other thing that happens with this budget is you estimate the meetings and sometimes they don't pan out. You know what I mean? So that figure of hours is really the amount of meetings, which I would have probably put, that there are estimating to hold. So if that doesn't pan out, then there's budget left over too.
Is there any discussion about amending this budget? Seeing or hearing none? All those in favor of the recording secretary, Department 154, in the amount of $9,157, please signify in the usual manner.
Aye.
All those opposed? All those abstaining, thank you. That is unanimous.
All right, now we can do it.
Now we can do registers, Tom.
The one everyone's been waiting for.
We've all been awaiting this,
All right, I move to approve the department budget for registrars, department number 163. It's comprised of $10,656 of salary, which is up from $10,451. And also expenses of $4,300, which is up $200 from $4,100. The total salaries increase accounts for 1.96%, and the expenses 4.88%.
For an overall net increase of
Second.
2.78%.
Yeah, overall increase 2.78%.
Yep, and I second that motion.
excuse me, a motion been made and seconded for the registrars, Department 163, in the amount of $10,656 in salaries and $4,300 in expenses, for a total budget of $14,956, a $405 increase, which is approximately 2.78%. Thank you, down there. There it is.
It's typically $3,000, $2,000 I bet you put out of salaries.
Wow.
Mr. Chair, are you calling for discussion on
Yes.
this particular item?
Yes.
In the past 3 years, the expenses have never gone, or total for the budget have never gone above $10,000. So at a minimum, I would make this a level funded budget and would further actually suggest that we might entertain decreasing the budget since we have a lot to deal with this year, decrease of $1,000 in terms of salaries.
The salaries that account for more than 10.
Right, the total amount that's expended, if I can believe this back sheet, is in fiscal year '24 was $6,712, and in fiscal year '23, the actuals were $9,927. And so we've got $14,551 to work with. So if we drop the budget by 1,000, we'd be looking at something, or 1,400. We'd be looking at 13,100.
Oh, okay.
And there'd be enough juice there to cover us easily and kick in $1,000 to the pot towards the 1.3 million we're missing.
Is there a reason why we've been running under the budgeted amount?
That's what I was trying to figure out, is where we are,
And
where
on
we're at.
what basis would they make any increase at all? I don't understand.
I'll entertain a motion to amend.
I make a motion to amend the registrar's budget, Department 163, by amount of a $1,000 decrease in salaries for a total salary of $9,656, and to eliminate the increase in the expenses for a level funding of $4,100.
Second.
Motion been made and seconded to amend the motion made for registrars, Department 163, in the amount of a decrease of $1,000 in salaries, lowering it to $9,656, and a decrease of $200, lowering it to $4,100, or decreasing expenses by $200 to $4,100.
Mr. Chair.
Is there any discussion on the motion? Your turn.
If I can just suggest maybe postponing this till Heather can come in and talk about it and hear your concerns and maybe plan better for the future. That would, I'm sure she'd appreciate that opportunity.
Are you suggesting then that we table this before we act on the motion and?
Yeah, and I can tell her to come in next time and explain the budget.
Would you ask her to entertain our suggestion, have a rebuttal to it if she wishes to rebut rather than to modify?
Well, yeah, I'll tell her what what the proposal is and why, and show her the.
I'll be happy going and talk to her myself on the
I entertain a motion to table the motion to amend.
There was a question asked about why aren't these hours used?
That'd be,
I don't know.
yeah, it's probably, that would be good to have Heather here for
Been
that.
Considerably under
Okay.
Yeah,
utilized.
yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, substantially. Not
Went
a
1,000, I was gonna go 2.
three.
I was gonna go 2. Tom,
Do we,
we were thinking 2,000 on
I'd go
the
3.
salaries?
Dropping
You wanna
by
go
2?
3? Oh, no, we're not gonna have a 3.
no, let's,
All right.
I
Let's
think we
have
have the discussion.
Anyway,
further.
point is.
I think we need
Okay.
to discuss it with Heather.
Okay.
We have a motion to amend on the
Table.
floor now. I'll entertain a motion to table the motion to amend. And then I have to have a motion to table the motion.
So
Okay,
I will
well.
can I make it in one motion, or it has to be 2 separate?
I would have to say it would have to be 2 separate.
So
We have 2 motions, on the floor.
Okay, so Mr. Chair, I make a motion that we table the amendment.
Second.
Motion been made and a motion's been made and seconded to table the Registrar's Department 163 amendment.
Right.
All those in favor of tabling the amendment?
Aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? All those abstaining? That's unanimous.
I'll
The
make a mo-
amendment is tabled.
I'll make a motion to table the motion to approve the budget for the registrar's department number 163.
Second.
Motion has been made and seconded to table the registrar's budget 163, the main motion. All those in favor of tabling the main motion signify in the usual manner.
Aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? That is, all those abstaining? That is unanimous. That is tabled. That will be tabled to our next meeting. On to Conservation Commission.
Rev.
Town report was 195. Do you, does everyone?
I do not have.
The conservation one is the one that needs to go back.
Oh, that's one of the,
Yeah,
needs to be fixed?
that
Okay.
needs to be fixed.
Oh, okay.
So 171 is going to be for next time?
Yeah, we're just gonna,
But it's not here.
Okay, for the next, 171 is for the next meeting.
for the next meeting.
Thank you very much, everyone.
No problem.
On to the next. That's exactly what I'm trying to do here. With any measure of luck, we might get through all of these
Flash.
tonight. That would be quite
All right, so what are we on?
substantial.
Town report. All right,
Yeah.
motion to approve town report, budget, department number 195. It's comprised of only expenses, amount of $6,495. That's up from $6,965.
It's down.
It's down.
Down, I apologize, yeah, sorry for that.
It's up upside down.
Trying to read too quickly here.
Just on top of it.
It is down 6.75% on expenses, and total budget down 6.75%.
I'll second that.
Motion been made and seconded for town report, Department 195, in the amount of $6,495 comprised of expenses only. This is down by $470. As I understand it, the printing costs have been lowered, plus we have a young lady that was formerly a finance committee member. Actually, she works on the copy for the town report, and that's actually saving us a fair amount of money, being able to utilize that person instead of putting it into a contract. So it's been quite beneficial. Do you want to?
It's also 200 less reports.
I'm sorry?
It's also 200 less
Yeah.
reports.
Yeah, well, that's part of what she's been able to do, is to kind of manage it a little better and kind of save us a few bucks.
100 extra for doorknob bags.
I mean, that's crazy. How does it
Yeah,
go by
a little
50%
upset.
1 year? Who's losing control of
We need
costs?
to watch out for doorknob bag costs.
Yes, they're escalating out of sight.
It's insane.
I don't know what that is, that's why I just thought it was kind of funny.
Yeah,
A doorknob
have you ever
bag.
got haven't you gotten your annual town report that hangs on your door?
Right.
Oh, it does it?
That's
Oh, I
the
didn't
bad.
realize, okay, that's the bag.
Yeah, see, your wife picks it up.
No, I know what you're
That's
talking
how-
about now, I didn't realize it was just like.
Yeah, it's the
My
bag.
wife
Yeah,
picks it
yeah.
up, she brings it to you, it's already out of the bag.
And the Boy Scouts do this for us.
That's great.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
actually pretty cool.
And they won't accept donations.
Yeah, we used to give them a donation. We have to take it out of our budget because we don't use it anymore.
Won't
Yeah,
accept it.
yeah, it's pretty crazy.
What an honorable career.
Yeah, they are.
Those are badges.
Oh, is it?
I think so.
Yeah, it's really nice. It's really nice, the Boy Scouts. Thank you very much, Boy Scouts, for delivering our town report. Thank you so much. All right, without volunteerism, this town would be a hurting buckaroo, I have to say. All right, is there any other discussion on the town report? Seeing or hearing none, all those in favor signify in the usual manner.
Aye.
All those opposed, all those abstaining. That is unanimous. Thank you very much. Okay, Jeff, here it goes. Buildings and grounds.
Why is mine, okay. I have central supplies.
That's what it's supposed to be.
It used to be Central Supplies, I can't,
No, Central Supplies is the correct.
We have
name.
two, I have 197 central supplies, but
It's-
it's crossed out building and grounds.
Okay. When I reviewed these, 197 technically is Central Supplies, and I noticed they had building and grounds. So I had asked Sandy to, if she could possibly get that corrected for me, just to keep things consistent in our reports, that's all.
So Jeff corrected it, but
Right,
it
it's
didn't
just
make
the
it to
word.
Yeah.
So central supplies is the correct.
Correct,
Okay.
correct.
okay,
name.
yes, that's important. We call it out as the title, what it's titled in our budgets, in our, all of our,
It's the same, so, okay.
it's just,
All right, so motion to approve Department Central Supplies, Department number 197. It's comprised of only expenses in the amount of $21,300. That is up from $20,220. That comprised of an expense increase of 5.34% and total budget increase of 5.34%.
Second that?
motion been made and seconded for Central Supplies, Department 197, the amount of $21,300, comprised only of expenses. That is a $1,080 increase. Yeah, it looks like it's all in toner.
Yeah, it is. The toner was underfunded before, and he wants it fully funded.
But,
Dang it.
why couldn't we have taken it out of the office supplies and just reworked it? Well, anyway, are we open for discussion on that?
Yes.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
If you look at office supplies in the breakdown, that had 4,000 extra in it. You could have taken that and moved it over. And maybe possibly just level funded it, or just went up $500 instead of the 4,000. Just saying.
Are you commenting about office supplies?
Yeah, if you notice.
I would increase the office supplies by
Absolutely,
$1,000.
yeah, that's
And
where
if
I
he
was
needs
going
more
with
in
it.
the computer printing supplies, I'd say yes on that. So there's $60 differential that we kick in more to the pot, but that
Yeah, like
saves
another
$1,000.
$500 or something, right on
On
1,000.
the second page.
It should be on the
Oh,
first
and this
page.
not, it's the historical data report. It's like, right, this thing?
It's on the back of the first page, first one stapled to your report.
So someone making a
Central.
I have my big
No, your central supplies.
So there's one.
Mr. Chair,
This is just like stuff
Yes.
that needs to
I'd
be
like to make
fixed.
an amendment to the department budget for 197. And I make a motion that the budget for building and grounds, department number 197.
Central
Central
supplies.
Central supplies,
That's gonna be central supplies,
Yes,
that's
yes.
all right. Okay, I'm reading what I have here. Try to be a good boy.
It's hard, but.
that works.
It's okay,
Yeah,
Tom.
flunked again. So again, I'm gonna restate the motion. I make a motion to amend the budget for central supplies, department number 197. That is, was initially indicated to be $21,300. I'd like that new budget to be $20,300 because of reduction in office supplies from $10,000 to $9,000.
Second.
Say it again.
Motion.
Let me swear.
A motion's been made and seconded to amend the Central Supplies budget, Department 197, in the amount of $1,000 being moved from office supplies to computer printing supplies.
No,
To-
no,
No,
just
no.
reduce.
Increasing office supplies by the amount of $1,000. So now it goes from $10,000 to $9,000.
9,000.
Oh,
So
okay,
the
right.
total budget.
Already.
Okay, total budget.
Yep, and leaving the
Right.
5422 alone at $9,000.
So you're doing an $80 increase.
Yep, exactly, kind of.
Because it is already.
Yep. So the total new number will be 2230.
20,000.
20,300.
20,300.
20,300, sorry.
No, that's all right. So making it an $80 increase.
Do we have discussion on the motion that's been made and seconded for Central Supplies? The amendment? Yes.
All in favor?
He said
All-
yes.
You're all set with, okay, right. Seeing or hearing no further discussion on the amendment. All those in favor signify in the usual manner.
Aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? All those abstaining? The motion is now amended. Central Supplies Department 197 is $20,300 comprised of expenses only. That is a reduction in office supplies by $1,000.
Correct.
Is there any further discussion on that budget? Seeing and hearing none, all those in favor signify in the usual manner.
Aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? All those abstaining, that is unanimous. The budget has been reduced. Thank you.
Budget 198 next up?
Yep,
Yep.
198.
198 advertising, that is the next up.
All right, motion to approve department title advertising, department number 198. It is comprised of only expenses, $5,000. That is unchanged from last year, and it accounts for the same amount of the budget as last year.
Second. Right?
A mo-
Correct.
Yeah.
A motion has been made and seconded for advertising, Department 198, in the amount of $5,000 comprised of expenses only.
I think we dropped it
Is
last
there any discussion?
There's an error, I believe,
No,
on the voted budget for 2025.
It isn't, I don't think it is. It has, Sandy's gotta explain this one because
Okay. No.
it's, you gotta look. I can't, I tried.
So tell me what's wrong.
So when you look at the expense, June expense sheet,
Historical?
the historical,
Yeah.
if you look at our budget from last year for 25, it's 5.
Uh-huh.
Why does it on the report look like it's 5? It almost looks like it's $10,000.
Right.
That's what I'm
This
confused
report?
at.
Voted
Yeah.
budget, 2024 was $10,500.
Yeah, the voted budget was 10,500.
And when?
And 24.
Right. 24 fiscal.
So
year.
shouldn't
25,
this,
it was 5,000.
And then it was reduced.
why does the 25, then it was reduced?
Yes.
So 24's voted budget was 10,500,
Right.
but 25's voted budget is 5,000.
Right.
I get it.
Of which we spent about
Okay,
half.
and that's why that looks like, okay, got it. Please, babe.
So I think that reduction came last year when it
Right.
was discovered
Okay.
that the expenditures were not
Okay,
coming through.
Right.
I see.
Yeah. Because you look at this.
Right, it just turned out that we weren't spending as much money on legal ads. A lot of that had to do with we went to multimedia, I think, for a lot of the advertising. It was something like
Yeah,
that.
well,
There
so
was
things
something
are
we
going
used
on
social
the
media.
on our
Webpage, right?
webpage,
Yeah,
and we're not using the Eagle, I believe,
right, we're not using the
for
Eagles money.
certain things,
Right,
like
yeah, I remember, we made a
using
change.
another venue
Right,
that is cheaper.
Good.
I do have a question.
When did
Can
that
we use,
change?
can we use Berkshire for
Yeah.
legal postings?
Probably a couple years
Not
ago.
yet.
So that's why you're seeing.
There's a bill
only
in-
10,000.
There's a bill in the
Yeah.
legislature
Okay.
that
I
may or
was
may
like-
not
but the budget.
go through. It's part of the
I was like,
Municipal
5. I'm
Empowerment
like, wait a minute,
Okay.
that's what
Right,
happened.
well,
when I looked at
I'd like you to
Sandy's
repeat that
budget.
once we have the attention of the committee. I just asked a question about using, because I know we use the Berkshire Eagle for legal notices, but also a piece of media that is used quite extensively here in Berkshire County is iBerkshire, which is, it's more or less, it's a website that I don't know if all of you have been to it, but iBerkshire has as much news as the Berkshire Eagle. So Tom had mentioned that there's some, we don't advertise with them legal notices, but what was the reason you stated, Tom?
Well, it's not legal now to advertise in an online newspaper, but there is a bill as part of the Municipal Empowerment Act, which would allow that. We just hasn't gone through yet. It didn't go through last session. It's being brought up again this session. We'll see where it goes.
Yeah,
I
just
just wanna make a
seems
comment
like-
too about, I think by law, planning board, when they have a public hearing, they have to post it in the newspaper. But the applicant that needs the public hearing kicks in a certain amount of money that goes in a revolving account that pays for the ad. So you're not seeing, you're only
Okay.
seeing legal ads that have nothing to do with, planning board stuff, I guess you could say.
And planning and
Because
zoning.
they're
Yeah.
paying, the applicant is paying for that themselves.
Right.
And it doesn't go through this account.
Yeah, this-
Only the ones that are not related to public hearings. I
Well,
believe
this
is
is
the word.
like,
Job ads.
yeah, job ads.
procurement
And
ads.
then, yeah, procurement ads like, you know, if we,
Bids,
bids, job bids and things of that nature have to go out, so, okay.
The Orchard Road ad is $400.
Advertising for help?
Do we,
Yeah.
we
Yes,
use
another
the Eagle for advertising for help and things of that nature, correct?
I've seen it.
We have,
just hadn't noticed.
we have not had good luck, so we don't use it for all the positions. There are other platforms that we use that are more
Cool.
fruitful.
Right. Are there any other questions concerning legal or advertising? Seeing or hearing none. All those in favor signify in the usual manner.
Aye.
All those opposed? That is unanimous. Thank you very much. Onward and upward. We are headed to
244.
244, sealer of weights and measures.
Motion to approve department title sealer of weights and measures, department number 244. It's comprised of only expenses in the amount of $1,600. That's out from last year's amount of $800. That's a 100% increase in expenses and 100% increase in budget.
Second that?
Motion been made and seconded for sealers of weights and measures, Department 244, in the amount of $1,600, comprised of expenses only. That is an $800 increase in the budget. It basically it doubled this year. Do we have any discussion?
Yes. On the front page, it says actual expenses in fiscal year 2025. This is probably a very minor issue, but I flipped to the next page and it says zero.
Zero, yeah.
Just could you elaborate on that a little bit, Sandy? Is
so,
this a guesstimate as to how much it's gonna be in fiscal year 25?
I think it's a contracted amount
Contract.
with the state,
So contract.
yes. And it hasn't, that contract, Tom,
Hasn't
just
been paid
occurred, is that right?
Yes. It comes in the calendar year, oddly enough. And you may recall I came before this committee not too long ago and asked for a reserve fund transfer.
Yeah, I thought. This one seemed
And
Yeah.
so if you'd seen that number before, that's where it came from. I asked for $726 to cover the difference. So I thought I would ask for $1,600, just in case it went up a little bit again in FY '26. It is based on their actual experience in how many machines they have to calibrate. So, or, check,
And
test.
the reason for asking for 1,600 rather than 1,526, which we know is the actual amount, and is because it may actually be a little bit more because we can't be sure.
Yeah, if there's another instrument in town, if we get another gas station, that'll go up considerably. Actually, it'll go up more than the extra, foreign, $74. Yeah, so I'll be back again if that happens. But I didn't want to ask for too much more.
Nice job, no worries. All in favor?
I think I'm good.
Are there any other questions regarding sealers of weights and measures, Department 244? All those in favor signify in the usual manner.
Aye.
All those opposed? All those abstaining? That is unanimous. Moving right along.
Motion motion to approve department title, or the budget for department title Animal Inspector, department number 247. Looks to be all salaries in the amount of $1,796. That's up from $1,761. It's a total change in salaries of 1.99% and a total budget change of 1.99%.
I'll second that.
Motion been made and seconded for Animal Inspector, Department 247, the amount of $1,796, comprised of salaries only. That is a change of $35. Who is the Animal Inspector?
It is Levi Lisi, the same as the animal control officer.
Okay, so it is a claim.
And what is different between animal control and animal inspection?
Thanks for asking. The animal control officer is a town-appointed position that is mostly involved in dog catching. Though if there were a stray horse or cow, the animal control officer would also round up that animal. The animal inspector is also known as a barn inspector. If anyone has chickens or livestock, that is actually a state-appointed position. We recommend to the state someone in town who goes around and checks livestock operations and makes sure that they're compliant with state law.
Once a year?
Or by complaint, or I don't know the details of how that office operates. But if there were, then, and they required an annual license, then the animal inspector would do it. Again, that's all state-based.
They probably used to, way back when, count cows and count
Oh, yeah. There used to
all
be,
that.
yeah, there actually used to be, they used to keep track of the population. If you look back at some of the old annual reports, they have a number, they actually had the count of heads of cattle and chickens, and I got a goat, the whole deal. It's pretty crazy.
Hung out with the fence viewer.
So, sometimes it's called barn inspector.
Like Holiday
Sure.
Farm, they have animals, so wouldn't that?
Who?
Holiday Farm.
Oh, the fence viewers. I
Yeah,
have a whole
Holiday
manual
Farm's a
on
good
fence viewer.
example, yeah.
An example.
Yeah, they're good.
All in favor?
I don't,
Come on, come on.
Yeah.
Are there any other questions concerning the Animal Inspector, Department 247? Seeing or hearing none, all those in favor signify in the usual manner.
Aye.
All those opposed? All those abstaining? That is unanimous, thank you. Traffic Commission.
Motion to approve the department title Traffic Commission, department number 293. It's comprised of only expenses in the amount of $1,500, with 0% change in the expenses from last year and 0% change in the budget.
Second.
Motion been made and seconded for Traffic Commission, Department 293, in the amount of $1,500 with zero change from the previous year. We're looking at the Traffic Commission chair, and we really, one of the things, the travel and lodging and meals, we generally don't go out for many things. We could reduce this budget. I would suggest by 500, however, we
Yeah.
With you on that?
I'd be on that.
I like it.
I'll entertain a motion to amend.
I'll make a motion to amend the Traffic Commission budget, department number 293, from the suggested amount of $1,500, or from $1,500 down to $1,000, which is a $500 decrease.
Second.
Motion been made and seconded to reduce, to amend the budget from $1,500 to $1,000, down $500 from the original motion. Is there any discussion concerning this $500 decrease? Seeing or hearing none, all those in favor of a amendment to the original motion of $1,500?
Aye.
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 All those opposed? All those abstaining? Aye?
Did you make a note that it was the travel and lodging that was gonna drop?
Yes. Okay. Back to the main motion. Traffic Commission Department 293, motion presently reads as $1,000 comprised of expenses only. Is there any further discussion on the motion?
No.
No.
All those in favor signify in the usual manner.
Aye.
All those opposed? All those abstaining? Aye. Thank you very much, everyone.
Our pleasure.
Would you cut that?
Our pleasure.
I've never used it. I've been traffic commission chair for I don't know how many years and
Never.
well, we actually used the entire budget one year to help with a line striping piece of equipment. So we just used the whole budget. It's all expenses anyways. And we actually bought a really nice piece of equipment for putting the stripes on the road. It actually worked out nice. All right, next is the
Forest warden.
There it is.
All right, motion to approve department title Forest Warden, department number 294. It's comprised of $2,600 in salaries, that's up $50 from last year, and $3,800 in total expenses, that's the same as last year. The total salary increase accounts for 1.96% of salaries and 0.079% of the budget.
I'll second that.
Motion's been made and seconded for Forest Warden, Department 294, in the amount of $2,600 for salaries and $3,800 in expenses, for a total budget of $6,400, an increase of $50 for the Forest Warden. Just kind of for everyone's, is there any discussion on the Forest Warden?
Yes.
Yeah.
I would like to propose an amendment. I propose, based on previous history where the budget is significantly underspent, I propose a $500, I make an amendment to the Forest Warden budget, department number 294, in the amount of minus $500, decreasing 294.5872 hose and equipment to $2,300.
I was gonna go with 1,000.
Based on the numbers, I feel like you could go a little
I think we
more.
can.
It doesn't seem
Well,
like we
it's
really
the
utilize
fire
it.
department, and
Well,
I just play
can
for
we-
optics a
yeah.
little bit.
But
Yeah,
when we get to the discussion part, I'll have a comment for you.
okay.
Right.
Is there a second?
I haven't heard a second.
Well,
Second.
Second on the
I'll second
amendment.
On the 500?
Yeah, it's like-
All right, I'm.
Did you settle on them all? I don't know.
Motion been made and seconded to amend the original motion of $6,400 down by $500. Now, when it comes to this, they have, they presently have some forest firefighting equipment that's coming that they will probably be needing all of this and be coming back for more in the future. I'm not sure quite how they're gonna do that, but it is, just to let everyone know, it is the responsibility of the town to take care of everything related to forest firefighting in the town of Dalton. That's a state mandate, so we don't get choices. And as I understand, we do not any longer own a forest fire truck. We do have an insert to put in the back of a pickup truck, on the back of some sort of a truck that we don't presently own this moment, but I believe a lot of this is gonna be used this year. It's because it's been underfunded, it's because it's been undermanaged in previous years.
I would still argue
I-
that
I-
it's
I'm
reduction
just-
of 500 simply because
Mhm.
I think if they're going to spend, given their history on spending, that it would be advantageous for them to come and explain their expenses.
Okay.
Hey, I have a comment too,
Yes.
that they have utilized capital project requests in the last couple of years and bought some good stuff with it,
Yeah, they have.
so.
Yeah, they've done well with the forest fire. They've done that we're forest warden. They've been doing a lot of really great work. And and believe it or not, it's all volunteer, the work that they're doing for us. So even though this thing is mandated, it is something we need to be careful with when it comes down to that.
But that's a more appropriate process to acquire significantly,
I think so, because then you know.
Expensive equipment,
when,
yeah.
You know, flood and wet.
right? It's not just put in as an expense item.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Hmm?
What kind of approach?
Capital project.
I thought there was a big piece of equipment purchased, maybe 4 years ago or 5 years ago.
Yeah,
I thought.
and
Well,
there
there
was
was
a
a
couple
trailer.
little pieces, backpacks and,
Hmm.
I can't think of them off the top of my head, but there were things that,
Sounds right.
Just the firefighting equipment for the forest fires.
that the forest warden has approached to get that stuff for them.
There's special forest turnout gear as well
Hmm.
that they got.
And matter of fact, we've purchased that gear, but that was all done through ARPA, wasn't it? We did
Yeah.
buy a bunch of stuff
That
for
too.
ARPA.
I thought we bought
Yeah.
stuff.
Yeah, we bought some stuff through ARPA. We've done quite a bit over there
Hmm.
with ARPA and so on. All right.
Could we also level fund the salary? Since it looks
I
like
don't know if
it's
Chris would
kind of,
appreciate that.
Yeah, that's sensitive stuff.
I would not.
I would be
$50.
disappointed.
Yeah, no.
It's $50.
Especially since he's doing a good job.
Yeah.
it's not that I'm saying he's not doing a good job. Guys, it's, well, if you look at the history, I'm only going off the figures, that's all I'm going off of. We're talking about a little inflation here.
All right.
You know, that's all I was coming for.
Is there any other,
Chris, you do a
is there any
great job. Thank
other
you.
discussion on the amendment?
Karen
Seeing
goes
or
on
hearing
record.
none, all those in favor signify in the usual manner.
Aye.
All those opposed, aye. All those abstaining, there's one nay in that.
So
So so on the main,
500,
Yeah.
right?
For the amendment.
yes,
dropped it
it's
by
500 down. Now, after the amendment, the forest warden budget, Department 294 is, I didn't do my math. I didn't math this up, sorry, gang. The forest warden budget is now at $2,600 in salaries and $3,300
$300.
in expenses for a total budget of $5,900. A decrease of $500. All those in favor of the amended budget, signify in the usual manner.
Aye.
All those opposed? Aye. All those abstaining? That is one nay vote. Thank you. All right, on to tree warden.
All right, motion to approve the budget for the tree warden, department number 296. It's comprised of salaries in the amount of $2,761, that's up from $2,660, and expenses of $41,215, that is up from $40,210. The salary increase accounts for 3.78%. The expense increase is 2.50%, and the total budget increase is 2.58%.
Second.
Motion's been made and seconded for tree warden, Department 296, in the amount of $2,761 in salaries and $41,215 in expenses for a total budget of $43,976. An increase of $1,106. Is there any discussion?
Mr.
Yeah.
It's gone up a lot.
Yes, Tom.
Yes, first, I had thought that these budgets were not going to be voted on tonight. I thought they were going to be, next time because of the select board timing and all that sort of thing. So I had actually arranged for Bud to come in next time, and so he's not here. But I think I can
These were TA.
manage to
These are
explain.
TAs?
Why do I have them and they're not?
Why
Yeah,
are
yeah, they
they
should
in
be.
our-
They should be. Hang on.
Well, wasn't there some
Because I remember,
salaries
oh,
or
you
something
know what,
about
she did the, wow,
not being-
she's right on top of things, they just did these on Monday.
Yeah.
Wow, she is right on top of things. God bless Alyssa. Would have never thought in a million years she would have had these. We, there's 3, 4 budget, well, no, these are TA. We can vote these. But if you'd like to
I thought,
hold off until Bud can get here.
No, I don't think it's necessary.
I thought there was a salary thing. For the public DPW stuff.
Yeah, and he presented at the select board, and I heard all that. That said, I don't have all of those budgets here myself, but he did go through all of his budgets with the select board,
Yeah.
so,
Isn't there some contract negotiations still?
Yeah.
yes, there are. Not for tree warden.
No, not for tree warden, but
Yeah.
for the others.
Yeah.
That are here.
So this one's all set?
I've got a question on that. What is the, I know what stump removal is, but what's stump removal reimbursement? Does that get farmed out?
That was a policy voted by the select board that we would pay half of the cost of removing a stump that was left after the town removed a tree.
Okay.
These are trees that are not town trees, but might be falling into the road. So there's two kinds of trees the highway takes down. They take down trees that are in the town's right-of-way, which are considered town trees. And then if there's a tree that they have to take down because it's leaning over a sidewalk or a road, this is to pay for half of the stump removal. And the select board decided to pay up to $500 per stump. I'm sorry, yeah, it's not half, it's up to $500, no more than half for each stump that needs to be removed.
$500 or no more than half?
Yeah, so that would be enough to do 5 stumps. And I'll just mention the extra $1,000 in purchase of services is for our tree removal service. And that extra $1,000 is about a third of a day's work for a tree company to come in and do work for us.
$36,005.
I know, really. $36,005.
Precision.
Seriously. Not gonna amend the budget.
I'm not gonna amend it for $5, but.
But,
I think that
You're
the
on
smoke
notice.
removal
Yeah.
reimbursement account can be decreased by $500 comfortably. So I'll make a motion to amend the tree warden budget, Department 296, in the amount of $500 by a reduction in the 542 expenses from $2,500 down to $2,000.
Second.
Motion been made and seconded to amend,
Is it stump removal or?
Yeah,
To amend the
stump
tree
removal.
warden. to amend the tree warden budget, Department 296, down in the stump removal reimbursement line item to, just gotta back to the math it up here, gang. Reduction with the, with a reduction to the expense line item to $40,715.
Yep.
Is there any discussion on the amendment? Is there, seeing and hearing none? All those in favor signify in the usual manner. All those opposed? All those abstaining? That is unanimous. The budget is now amended. The new motion is for the department tree warden, department number 296, the amount of $2,761 in salaries and expenses of $40,000.
Oh, God.
7:15.
That's right.
$40,715 for a total budget of $43,000.
46.
Huh?
42,476.
42, 43.
43.
43,476.
Only down 5, right?
Yeah,
Right.
right.
I have a really cool Apple piece of equipment over here that told me that.
I'm sorry.
My calculator called Tom. didn't-
$500 out of there.
Oh,
That's right.
I
Okay.
think. I lost track, but I think so.
So that's 500 out of the stump grinding, is that right?
Yes.
right.
Yes.
Yep, 5,462.
Tom.
Is there any discussion on the main motion? Seeing and hearing none, all those in favor signify in the usual manner.
Aye.
All those opposed? All those abstaining? That is unanimous, thank you. All right. We are now at the hour-and-a-half timeline that I had promised that we would be running to.
I'm good for a couple, 3, 4 more.
Would the committee like to continue
Yes.
Yes,
for,
Yes.
we'll invite you later.
okay, let's go to the next one in line, which would be town engineer, 401.
Motion to approve department title town engineer, department number 401. It's comprised of only expenses in the amount of $25,000. That is unchanged from last year.
I'll second that.
Motion's been made and seconded for department, for town engineer, department 401, the amount of $25,000, comprised of expenses, solely expenses. Is there any discussion?
Mr. Chair, we do not have an amendment on this particular one.
Thanks, Tom.
I have discussion.
Yes.
You may recall, I also came to the Finance Committee for a reserve fund transfer. We used this budget for engineering for town hall, heating, ventilation, and air conditioning, and plumbing. The cost was a few $1,000s over the $25,000. I see that as an unusual expense. This was brought down from $30,000 from the previous year. So I'm considering level funding this as a reasonable path.
How's the new police station gonna fit into this? Or does it or not?
The study
Study, yeah.
doesn't come out of this.
Not gonna happen, nothing's gonna happen that's gonna affect the engineering in 2026, next fiscal year, right?
Not from this
Well,
budget.
come out of this
Okay.
budget.
This is for more minor projects.
Oh, okay.
Well, if, like, for instance, if we needed to have something done with the sewer system, you know, like, we found a line that was bad somewhere and we had to have some engineering done, sidewalks, matter of fact, steps in wooden buildings, things of that nature. That's kind of, it fits into that bookshelves in the, okay. Are there any other questions about town engineer? Seeing or hearing none, all those in favor signify in the usual manner.
Aye.
All those opposed, all those abstaining.
Aye.
That is unanimous.
Abstain.
Okay. That is, there's one abstention on town engineer.
Mention the name, so that the
Oh,
reporting person can necessarily know.
Jeff Noble abstains. Thank you, Tom.
And I would like to ask to delay the other DPW projects till
Yes,
next time.
we will be, we're going to delay till the next meeting,
Why don't we do?
420 and 423.
And
440, 491.
We're going to do 433, we're going to do that one.
491.
What about 440?
How far are you gonna go?
491?
no, next one should be 522.
Okay, 491, I'm just trying to stay
Yeah.
with the numbers. Public health nurse,
Yeah.
okay. The next will be Public health nurse. I have to catch up here, everyone. Thought I'd be able to roll over it, but it didn't let me see it or not. There it is. All right. Public health nurse, account 522.
All right, motion to approve, the budget for the public health nurse department number 522. It's comprised of only expenses in the amount of $6,722. That is, the same as last year.
I'll
Second.
second that. Oh, sorry.
Motion has been made and seconded for public health nurse, Department 522, the amount of $6,722, comprised of expenses only. Is there any discussion?
Yes, I have a question. What are the contracted services, please?
Yeah, this is a program from the Berkshire Regional Planning.
So
Over
this
there,
is just money
BRPC.
BRPC for support of this particular.
Yes,
I think the Public Health Alliance.
yeah. There's a certain basic level for the BRPC that we'll see in the next budget. This is an additional menu item that allows us to access a public health nurse for public vaccinations or whatever, coming into, she actually has an office in the back of this building. It's not actually an office, it's the break room. But there's a spot for supplies, and they're the ones who distribute masks and antiseptic and things like that.
Vaccines and stuff like
They
that.
Yeah.
administer vaccinations.
Yeah.
Is there any further discussion on the public health nurse? Seeing or hearing none, all those in favor signify in the usual manner.
Aye.
All those opposed, all those abstaining, that is unanimous, thank you. Berkshire Regional Planning Commission.
All right, motion to approve the budget for the Berkshire Regional Planning Commission, department number 591. It's comprised of only expenses in the amount of $10,662. That is down from last year, which was at $15,524. That accounts for an expense reduction of 31.32% and a budget reduction of 31.32%.
I second that.
Motion has been made and seconded for the Berkshire Regional Planning Commission, Department 591, in the amount of $10,662, a $4,862 reduction. Is there any discussion? Yes, Tom?
Yeah, this is really miscellaneous. We get a certain amount of technical assistance based on our membership, but when we ask them to do something specific for us, like look at a section of town and assess the zoning there or assess any planning issues that might be involved, if we're using them, that's an additional cost. That's again, that's sort of a menu cost from them. So the technical assistance, there's some help from the state. We get direct local technical assistance. So there's a certain amount that we can get for free. But if we want to expand on that or do a little bit more, then that comes out of an extra budget. And this would be a typical project cost.
We just kind of let everyone know, we use the Berkshire Regional Planning Commission extensively. When we did the traffic commission, now I'm taking my finance committee hat off, put on a traffic commission hat. And during that time, we used Berkshire Regional Planning quite a lot. And believe it or not, we didn't exceed the budget that we had. It was, yeah, they were actually quite reasonable in price for helping us with planning. It was, yeah, we lean on them. The traffic commission leans on them when things come in for us. It's a pretty good investment. Is there any other discussion on Berkshire Regional Planning Commission? Seeing or hearing none, all those in favor signify in the usual manner.
Aye.
All those opposed? All those abstaining? That is unanimous. Thank you very much. Lot more done than I thought.
One more?
All right, Parks, you want to do,
6:30?
yeah, let's do 6:30. Parks and Rec.
All right, motion to approve, the budget for Parks and Recreation, department number, is that a 5:30?
6:30.
Is that 6:30? Oh,
Yeah,
sorry about that.
6:30.
6:30. That looks like a fun.
It does look like fun.
Total salaries, $50,005. That is up from $49,000.
I want to make a distinction. They have this listed as salaries.
Right.
But they invoice us as an expenditure, okay?
Which
So we don't pay their actual salaries. They report to us how much salaries are used in running their budget for the town's youth activities. So this is really all expense, even though it doesn't look like it, but
Yeah,
it's.
We'll dig a little deeper into that in just a couple of minutes. Just $64,505 total of total expenses.
Okay, sure.
Would be the motion.
Sure, we'll do total expenses amount of $64,505. That is up from last year's $63,240. We'll just do total expense change of 7.85%, total budget of 2.0%.
I'll second that.
Motion been made and seconded for Parks and Recreation in the amount of $64,505, comprised of expenses only, an increase of $1,265. Is there any discussion?
Yes. I'd like to make an amendment. I'd like to amend the budget for Parks and Recreation Department number 630 by the amount of $500. And I would like to pick, we'll just arbitrarily, I don't particularly care where they reduce their expenses, but I'd like to reduce what they articulated here as $14,500 in expenses down to $14,000. However they wish to mish and mash that, it's fine by me. And my basis for that feeling is that.
Well, do we have a second?
I'll second it.
Motion been made and seconded to amend Parks and Recreation budget of 530 down by $500. Is there discussion?
I disagree.
Yeah, I disagree too.
Yeah,
The actuals just seem so close.
Tight budget.
Yeah, I don't see this one as like
These are,
really that beneficial to reduce
I
funding.
think they really do keep a good
I'm impressed that they could
budget.
keep it as little as they're asking for.
I would
Yeah, they're
Personally.
pretty, well, they're pretty
I
close
would,
each year
I would
too.
concur that they
Well,
do.
most of these items
For all the
are
years I've
items
looked
that
at
are
this
gonna go
thing,
up in price.
That,
They're
Yeah.
not
that number
down.
stays
Correct.
pretty
Salaries.
tight year over year.
Well, and I
No, just that
understand that,
number.
and I appreciate what they're doing.
Expenses.
My issue is that there's just a massive bill coming at us, where we can't stop that, the massive increases. And so I'm just trying to do what I can from every quarter, so that that final number is as unugly as possible.
I get it. I get it.
Yeah, no, I'm with the logic.
I would agree with the logic, but I would disagree with this budget in particular.
And I just want you to be assured that they do provide, when they give us their assessment every 6 months, they provide their payroll backup, and they provide all the invoicing that matches what they're asking for. So it's really well.
Very well managed.
I don't doubt that.
So
We
vote
just
on
have
the
another
amendment.
problem in front of us, and it's to the tune of $1 million. And that every little nibble that can be thrown into the bucket to help is another nibble to help.
Yeah.
Gonna vote on the amendment then?
Is there any further discussion on the amendment? Seeing or hearing none, all in favor signify in the usual manner.
Aye.
All those opposed?
Aye.
Aye.
But are there any abstentions? None? The motion to amend fails. Is there any further discussion on the Parks and Recreation budget? Seeing or hearing none, all those in favor signify in the usual manner.
Aye.
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 All those opposed?
Nay.
All those abstaining? That is, there is one, there is one nay vote on that
Tom
budget.
Irwin.
Tom Irwin. Good. Okay. Tom Irwin is the nay vote.
You're gonna postpone parks because it's buds?
Yeah.
But yeah, let's set the parks aside for the next meeting.
Two more to go.
We have two left. Yep, we are now, two.
All right, historical
I got three.
I got three.
I got three.
691.
Yeah.
Oh, they did, I think they did.
692.
Yeah, I had two stuck together here.
All right.
All right.
Good.
All right, 691 here.
We'll approve them
Oh,
both.
parks.
Parks, we skipped, that's right.
Okay.
Well, I gotta break this whole thing down.
You got the tabs going right now.
Yeah, yeah, I got it.
Your PC is working overtime.
Yeah, well, it's good, this is Alyssa's, and it's working overtime. I'll have mine for next meeting. Okay, Historical Commission.
All right, motion to approve the department titled Historical Commission, department number 691. It's comprised of only expenses in the amount of $4,500. That is level funded from last year, so 0% change.
I'll second that.
Motion's been made and seconded for Historical Commission, Department 691, the amount of $4,500. That is a 0% increase. Is there any discussion?
Yeah, you think about lowering it to like either
$4,000.
500 or 1,000.
Doesn't seem like they've approached $4,500 at all.
Yeah, for a while.
I'll make an amendment
I'll go
to
for
the
1,000.
historical
1,000,
commission
Wait,
budget.
whoa, Tom, slow. What we agreed, what?
$500, what I was going to look.
We were going 1,000.
Yeah, okay. It doesn't seem like we,
I mean-
1,500 and then
Right.
Typically,
And this year they're on that.
one year they went low, but that was it.
If they need more money later, ask us.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So Tom,
Yeah.
could we go 1,000, could we?
fire
I
alarm.
just wanted to slow you down.
$1,001.
No.
No,
Okay, 500 for a
no,
warrant.
one.
Uh-huh.
Excuse me, you're gonna go down to 25 cents, Tom.
I make a motion, or I make an amendment to the motion for the Historical Commission, Department number 691, in the amount of $1,000, decreasing the total budget from $4,500 to $3,500.
Second.
Motion's been made and seconded to amend the Historical Commission, Department 691 motion from $4,500 down to $3,500. All those in favor of the amendment signify in the usual manner.
Aye.
All those opposed, all those abstaining. That is unanimous. Thank you very much. For the main motion, the Historical Commission, Department 691, the amount of $3,500 comprised of expenses only. Is there any further discussion on the Historical Commission motion? Seeing or hearing none, all those in favor signify in the usual manner.
Aye.
All those opposed, all those abstaining. That is unanimous. Thank you. I gotta go through the sheet
It's
for
like
all
this
this stuff.
production.
You guys are killing me.
You figure it out. We give you the money, you
It's all
figure it out.
good. It's all good.
Yep.
This is what it's all about.
All right.
Okay, let's go to 692,
Memorial.
Memorial Day Committee.
All right, motion to approve the budget for Memorial Day Committee, department number 692. It's all expenses, total budget $3,550. That is up from $2,250. That's actually a 57.78% increase on the expenses and the budget.
Mm,
Do I hear a second?
second.
Motion's been made and seconded for a Memorial Day Committee, Department 692 in the amount of $3,550, an increase of $1,300. Is there discussion?
Yeah, do you know how often they need to replace those flags and markers? Which is where, it looks like they're
Once a year,
every year.
The flags,
the memorial flags, yeah.
not the markers.
Not the markers. For the markers,
They're
I
there
think he
forever.
gets like 70 every now and then.
Yeah, they're there.
So I'm wondering why the jump
Because the price of flags has gone up.
that
There's a
much?
little highlighted thing right there also, how you do more like this.
Well, that's what I'm asking about, why, how often they
It's-
have to replace, I thought these were
Every year,
replacement.
they do new ones every year.
They're
Well,
now,
it should be budgeted, so,
so the markers are plastic now versus metal, and they destroy easier, I guess.
Really?
But if you look.
That they would go to I'm saying really, that that seems
If you look historically.
counterproductive to me, because
They got at least $500.
metal seemed to be, for Memorial Day, seems to be
Every
more
year.
But
appropriate
I'm talking
thing.
about the markers that, the things that hold the flags.
Oh, little
That.
stands out.
Yeah.
They went the plastic ones, really?
I agree.
Yeah.
I don't know if she used
And they
to
didn't
go
even-
for this
I
number
mean-
here, if she's trying to figure out.
So you can order from a book,
Or she just bumped
like
the
Air
budget.
Force or Army or, but now that's all generic.
Just lowered.
It costs more for the others.
Karen, I think you got $400 off.
I go 3.
I'll go 4. You got
No, I
your
got
other one, I
three.
went 500.
You're gonna go 3.
No, 350.
there's a
Going
amendment
once,
here, look.
going
Bad.
twice.
What are you changing your mind?
Wow.
I'm going to take your
Wow,
money.
no, I still think, come on.
I'm making a
Come on,
motion.
you're supposed to be with me on
Memorial
that.
I
Day
am,
committee.
I'm saying 3.
See, we said we got 2 for 3.
Well,
You're
then we'll
outvoted.
vote later. Department number 692, a reduction in the amount of $350 to $3,200.
Second.
These are flags.
Motion been made and seconded to amend the Memorial Day Committee, Department 692 from $3,550 to $3,200, a $350 deduction from the original motion. Is there any further discussion on the amendment?
I would just like to say, if they cannot buy the flags needed within this budget, maybe
I
they'll
hope
come back to us
for-
and let us know that.
For
Back
reserve,
for,
yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
we-
Yeah.
yes.
Yeah.
I've ordered
please.
them.
Well, I was-
In fact, there was an invoice for them, and I can't remember how much it
We'll,
was. It just came
we'll,
around, so.
we'll circle
I can
back
let
to
you
that
know.
on the main motion.
Oh, all right, yeah, because
Okay.
we don't want them to think that we don't want them to
We'll
get.
circle back to that in the main motion.
Okay,
Okay, thank you.
you're welcome.
Is there any further discussion on the amendment? All those in favor of the amendment signify in the usual manner.
Aye.
All those opposed? All those abstaining? That amendment passes unanimously. The main motion presently reads, Memorial Day Committee, Department 692, is now in the amount of $3,200, which is comprised of expenses only. I just want to make it clear to all people out in the town and such, that if the Memorial Day Committee needs any further funds to accomplish what they need to do, they can come to the Finance Committee. All they have to do is file a paper on a reserve fund transfer. And we meet definitely once a month. We're more often this time of year than we are the rest of the year. So if they end up needing more money, we can fund them.
Yeah.
So it's not, this is
Maybe.
against the committee. This is,
Maybe, we'll discuss it.
Maybe.
there will be discussion, of course.
Just kidding.
Thank you very much, everyone. Is there any further discussion on the Memorial Day Committee budget number 692? Seeing or hearing none, all those in favor signify in the usual manner.
Aye.
All those opposed, all those abstaining. Thank you very much.
Last but not least.
Last but not least, cultural activities.
All right, motion to approve the budget for cultural activities, department number 693. It's comprised of only expenses in the amount of $7,500, which is up $500 from last year. That's a total expense increase of 7.14% and a total budget increase of 7.14%.
I'll second that.
Motion's been made and seconded for cultural activities, Department 693, in the amount of $7,500, comprised of expenses only. That is a $500 increase.
I have discussion on that.
Yeah. September,
Is there discussion on this?
Sorry.
Yeah,
Oh, that's fine.
just like to call your attention to, the first and second years had substantial contributions from ARPA, which is no longer available. We did bring it down the second year and made up a good portion of that with sponsorships. We're hoping to do the same thing again this year. We just want to be sure that we have a good event. And it's the budgeting is still in progress with it because the funding sources are changing, and we got great scholarships last year. It's not scholarship, sponsorships. But we'll need to get more this year. It's a work in progress, and we realize that. We don't, we did not make enough in sponsorships last year to, pay for it, obviously. But we figure that the $500 increase is, we're gonna have to make up, another $2,750 in sponsorships that we didn't do this time. That's way more than the $1,750 we had last year. So we're gonna need to more than double our sponsorships for next year. We're still looking for support from the town for doing it. It would be great if we get to a point where sponsorships pay for the whole thing. I don't think we're there yet. It's still kind of in its beginning stages.
What was driving the expenses down?
I don't know the final budget.
Tents.
Oh,
Yeah,
tents are
that
expensive.
Performers. 'Cause they
Oh,
had,
what's
No,
performers that
just-
were kind of
Oh, I
expensive.
thought you were asking
Yeah.
what the total budget was.
Yeah, I wasn't there.
Really?
Tents it's driving it.
Yeah, there's renting the stage and the chairs and the tent. That's most of it. The tent's $3,000 by itself.
It's
I,
a great time, though.
And the sound system.
What was good?
I think that there's enough people in town that are more worried about their taxes than they are about the cultural event in July. And I think that we should consider trimming this a little bit. Maybe $300, something.
Yeah, but I think it's a good, real good thing for the town people.
I think they're gonna feel better if they've got tax money in their pockets. And I think that we're asking a lot of different departments, we're gonna ask a lot of different departments to kind of step up, and I think this is one way we can. It puts a little pressure on to make sure that they get more sponsors. We gotta work a little bit harder in that department. But I think in the best interest of the taxpayer, I think we need to guard things here a little bit. So I will stick my neck out, and I'll make another amendment to the cultural activities budget, department number 693, in the amount of $300, decreasing the proposed budget from $750 to $7,200.
Second.
Motion been made and seconded to amend the cultural activities, budget, Department 693, in the amount of, from $7,500 down to $7,200. Is there any discussion on the motion to reduce the budget, on the amendment to reduce the budget?
I got a
Yes.
question for Tom. Did you say that there will not be ARPA funds going forward?
Right, all of our ARPA funds have been spent. They had to be, they had to be committed by December 30th.
So we could necessarily be in the hole $3,200.
Right.
Yeah,
Well,
Or
yeah,
don't
I would say there's already some pressure to get more sponsorships.
So on the flip side of that though, if you notice, under cultural activities, the first line, there's been nothing spent on it.
Well,
Not
because
yet.
it's a one-shot, it's kind of like a one-shot deal, especially for the Dalton group. Dalton
But
is what's
that-
driving it.
That Halloween family walk, that comes from the CRA, so they probably have not requested those funds.
I would say so. They, unless they do it through the budget that we just,
The park.
and I'm not sure about that.
No, I think it's a separate thing.
It's right here.
Well, no, I know that, but I'm just saying,
But it's been used though, see, it looks like
It
it's
hasn't?
been used.
oh, that's the zero means there's nothing left. I get you. Sorry, I was
Yeah.
looking at it differently.
No, it's all right, no, that's okay.
This one's, I'm hard, it's hard with that one for me, because I don't see what got
Yeah,
spent.
yeah, I know. Believe me, when I was doing it, wasn't even
Right.
Yeah, I agree with, yeah, it's gonna go up. We're gonna, because ARPA's not here next year, so it's gonna be an interesting.
Well.
Either that or
we
we're
can
gonna have to
get
think things differently maybe too, who knows? Yes, between sponsorships and maybe just thinking things a little differently.
Mhm.
We'll get to it. Well, like you said, it's a work in progress.
Yeah, and, you know, certainly the more sponsorships, the better.
I certainly sponsor it. I do. Got a nice check.
Heartfelt thank you.
Just saying.
Okay.
All right. Is there any further discussion on the amendment? Seeing or hearing none, all those in favor of the amendment signify in the usual manner.
Aye.
I,
All those opposed?
I
Chad,
oppose.
you-
Sorry, I oppose.
You opposed, one? Just gotta, I'm gonna put that in.
we're gonna be going back to the table on this one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, they just-
Actually, I oppose the amendment as well.
You know.
The amendment passes with 2 opposing votes.
And those are? No, for the
Susan
direct-
Carroll and myself.
Yeah.
Right. The budget now, the budget now reads cultural, the main motion is now cultural activities, Department 693, the amount of $7,200 for expenses only. Is there any further discussion on this budget? Seeing or hearing none, all those in favor, signify in the usual manner.
Aye.
All those opposed? All those abstaining? That is unanimous.
Mr. Chair, will you entertain a motion to adjourn?
I just have one thing before we adjourn. I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
I make a motion to adjourn.
Is there a second?
Second.
Is there any discussion?
On the discussion, we have, our next meeting is February 12th. It'll be right here at the same time. Hopefully we'll be able to keep things within our time constraints that we've tried to. We'll have more budgets forthcoming. I think we've all gotten most of what we already have. So we'll align the budgets we've set aside and have them for us at the next meeting. Are there any other questions? Is there anything further to come before the committee? All those in favor of adjournment, signify in the usual manner. All those opposed? All those abstaining? I made the motion.
For the record, who was that?
Meeting is adjourned. 8:00.